So, welcome everyone. This is the third session that we are having today between friends of friends for discussing topics around psychology, mindfulness, and more from life experiences. The victim was I lose, conflict was you lose, responsibility stays I win. You are going to start a YouTube channel with 5 minutes talk, one video a week planning. And this, so by 2 weeks, we are going to see your two videos in YouTube. And we are going to be the first audience for it. Deal?
Absolutely.
Deal. Master said, I would have said, then enter Zen through that.
But the topic is such that it has got all of us engaged.
Okay. No, actually, I was. This tends to happen to me when I find something very interesting, I just try to shut up and just absorb the information.
Also, the topics selected and our ability to be able to quickly dive into an exercise mode. I think that is fantastic. And we clearly overshot the time, so I'm really not bothered about that.
Yes.
It was wonderful. All this, the ladder, and I had never seen this approach, and I found it extremely interesting.
So, welcome everyone. This is the third session that we are having today between friends of friends for discussing topics around psychology, mindfulness, and more from life experiences. This session is going to be, hopefully, this session is going to be a little different from the first two sessions in a way that the first two sessions were really targeting CBT-based approach to identify the cognitive biases and distortions one has, where those cognitive biases and distortions play a generic role in our life, and then trying to challenge them, right? So in the first session, don't conflict with stress, we came across a bias which was catastrophizing, which means, oh God, everything is going to crash without any reality. We did CBT ABC for that. The second session we had was around challenging catastrophizing, where then Alessandra helped with Socratic questioning, where you have in favor things for your catastrophizing thoughts, something that is against, and then you go from, as Alessandra mentioned, from a very bad catastrophizing thought to a functional thought, which brings down the anxiety. Today, what we want to do is we want to target the discussion from the other spectrum of the world, which means, okay, let's not only talk about the challenges and issues I have, but as humans, we all want to be happy. We want to have a wellness setup in our life according to our own personal definition. And let's target the discussion from the other side of existential well-being and how we can only think about a good thinking approach and see what concrete, pragmatic, scientific steps we can take on that. So that's another approach of psychology that we can apply on ourselves as well as people whom we want to help. So we start with CBT and others, but we also start from the other spectrum of being happy. So we'll talk about ladder of mindset today. We will do a short demo on existential well-being. We will have a small mindfulness impulse like always, and then open for discussion. Again, we hope we can try and finish this in 30 minutes or less. But the history, we are not too good with it, but we hope we can do that today so that we save time, especially people in Mexico. It's late night, so time for you to sleep. So let's get started. So very quickly, ladder of mindset. This is what I came across in a beautiful course on CBT on Udemy. Ken Ramsey was bringing this up, and I tried to look at it from prior art of psychology, and I found out David Hawkins talking about it in terms of level of consciousness. There are people out there who talk about energy leadership index, so-called, on this ladder. So this is a powerful ladder. That some people give it more granular than others. Some terms are different, but it's more or less the same concept. So let's start talking about it very quickly, and then I give you some insights, and we open for discussion a little bit on this. So first, the lowest mindset a person can have is a victim mindset, an apathy mindset, right? Hawkins goes as far as saying that this is the closest to the death mindset of a person, right? Where there is complete apathy. It is always about I lose scenario. Oh, this is happening wrong with me. People are doing wrong with me. particular person is doing wrong with me. This world is not worth it. I lose in everything I do. This is the lowest level of mindset a person can have. And we all talk, not we all, at least I, right? We talk. I find myself toggling between all of these mindsets, right? So it's more about where is our center point. But yeah, sometimes we do feel like victim, but we shouldn't stay there long, because it's a really bad state to be in, because then it'll start converting into clinical psychology issues, right? And not just counseling level issues. The second mindset, a little better than victim, but not still good, is a conflict mindset, which means I'm angry, right? And like victim is I lose, conflict mindset is you lose. This is some place where we are happy when a person whom we are angry at falls in trouble, right? For example, in corporate world, a boss fell in trouble and now you know how it feels, right? This is how I felt all the time. Now you deserve it, right? And so far as I heard one person telling me that my boss traveled to US and he lost his luggage completely for 2 days, and that made my day. I'm throwing a party. Come on, is that what you want to be at, right? So it's definitely a live state. It's not as apathy or victim state and I lose state, but it's still you lose, and it has its own repercussions on psychology and body. Not really a good state to be at, right? And we see other states and we see if we can go there. The third state, and I for me this is the neutral state, and for me I like to believe that I want to be at that state at least, and have everybody around me to be at that state, is a state of responsibility. State of responsibility says, so the victim was I lose, conflict was you lose, responsibility says I win. And what it means is not I win by hook or crook, but my victory is in my hands. The trouble that I am having, and this was what we did in CBT in the first few courses, the trouble that I'm having is because of my thoughts and not because of my boss, not because of world, not because of situation. It is my thoughts creating the problem for me. So I am responsible for them. I will win over my thoughts. I will be happy. I win, right? So I take responsibility, stop blaming others. Don't be angry at others. I work on myself and I take that as a responsibility. Now, this state is liberating from a lot of negative things, but it's not still a very happy state. I take responsibility. I work on me. I know there are things wrong on me, but there is still a neutral state. But this is something that I want people to come at bare minimal, right? This is where I say we have a good start in our mindset or level of consciousness, as Hawkins would put it. Beyond this state, we have things above it, right? So beyond this state, if you go, there is concern. Because if I am troubled because of my thoughts, and the way I behave is because of my thoughts and not others, now I know other people do the same, which means my boss is a victim of his thoughts, right? Similar to me, or somebody else, my colleague, whom I have been angry at, is at a similar mindset, and now I'm having concern, and I start sharing the things with that person. I start thinking open-mindedly, yeah, maybe he's a victim. He's wrong, right? He's still wrong, but he's victim of his mindset. And that is where I start working over the mindset of you win. So not only I win, but now I start looking at things with you win, right? So there is this person who is very, very strong in giving his viewpoint and suggestions in office, and he doesn't want to listen to anybody else. He's very hardworking, passionate person, but he's very emotional, right? That is what now I start understanding, that his thoughts are so emotional that the facade he has around him of being a very strong, pushy guy is just a facade, and he's fighting his thoughts. And I want him to win. Beyond concern, so there is inner peace. Sounds philosophical, but from a mindset perspective, we started from victim conflict. So we started from I lose, you lose, I win, you win, and now we are at win-win. So I'm at inner peace with a feeling that this mindset issue is common to all. And this is really the place where I start feeling oneness, not oneness as in I am Pilar or Pilar is Jemin, but there is something common in all of us, and that common thing needs to be addressed. I become angry, you become angry for different reasons, but we still have anger as a common thing. And with that comes inner peace, which goes beyond win-win situation. right? Uh, then comes what we like to call as inner joy. So after peace, now there is really a point where we say, yeah, this is common. This is a problem. We are all working towards it. It's all good. There is innate joy in the person saying, it's all fine. Anger is fine. Everything is fine. We have to work towards it, but it's fine, right? That is where the reconciliation steps from concern, inner joy, inner peace yields into inner joy. So there are some people who are uh, really experience joy within themselves in every situation, right? So that is the state which you reach. And then the final state is of raw passion, a complete non-judgment state, a complete state of creation, intentfulness in your living. Everything you do is with complete intent, even drinking coffee, the first sip, everything, right? It's complete intent, raw passion. It doesn't shake you in your approach towards life, irrespective of things that you do. So this is the state ladders of mindset, or this is the level of consciousness. You can read about Hawkins' a level of consciousness as well. Two things over here. First is we all need to rate where we reside the most and how we need to take next steps. But this is also very interesting because, I met a person who was in victim mindset, and that person says, oh, I meet my friend and he always talks about the boss, saying, oh, you know what, the boss might be troubled. Why are you not looking at that? And she's like, I like the way he thinks because he's not troubled as I am, but I can't do that. And you can't do that because there are multiple steps of psychology in between that you need to understand, conquer before you go. You can't just jump in a second from victim mindset to saying concern, oh, now let me start thinking about that person. Or I don't care about the results, let me give my full, right? That's almost at raw passion. You just can't switch into that mindset overnight because there are a lot of understanding that you need to acquire to climb that ladder. It might not take time, but that's the ladder that you have to climb anyways, right? So for some people, it really takes time to go from victim to responsibility itself, right? And then there is a whole different ball game. Once you experience the responsibility of I win, reconciliation to say, oh, now I should start thinking about you win. That's again a big leap, big leap for many people. So I stop there at ladder of mindset. If there are any comments, any questions, anything that echoed or synced with you, I would open up for discussion. I would want to know your feedback on this.
Hey, Jemin, KL here. Again, a wonderful topic for discussion, and I'd like to just set some set an example or set a concept just before I jump into my question.
Yes.
They say that an idiot is a person who brings you to his level and then beats you with sheer experience, right? So there's a very beautiful saying, right? Now, my question is about people who are in different stages of the ladder mindset, right? Like you rightly pointed out, there could be somebody who's a victim. It could be a dear friend or anybody.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it could be maybe a client of yours who might be, in a particular role where he feels his responsibility could be with respect to being in a particular mindset. I don't know, maybe it could be a conflict or a responsibility, because the moment he feels, maybe this is my version of the story, he feels probably the moment he gets into, let us say, inner joy or raw passion, maybe the effectiveness of him being a client of mine is lost, right? And you see almost all of the clients, unless and until the relationship has matured pretty much over many years, the initial interaction is more in terms of the master services agreement and SLA performance and all of that, and how do I charge penalties for not meeting. I mean, I'm just maybe I went down a rat hole, but I'm just trying to give an example. So my question is, one is in terms of assessment, in terms of, do you need to always assess at which ladder of mindset the person you're interacting with is, and then probably educate them, or try to, say, okay, I am at raw passion and I'll continue to deal with you as a victim without being able to promote you through the different rungs of this ladder? How do you think the approach should be?
Okay. Um, I'm thinking how to answer that. Okay, friends of friends, let me tell it like it is. Let's first understand that we need to understand our own mindset first. If I am at raw passion, I will never be able to think that, oh, somebody is an idiot or somebody is a complete victim mindset, because I don't judge.
Okay.
At raw passion, I'm a person who doesn't judge. I'm one step beyond the oneness, which means I see that we are, and his mind works similar. There is no difference, right? What I'm trying to get at is this ladder is I like to rate that, oh, I'm at inner joy, but I'm not, right? And what I'm trying is that, from my personal experience, if you are at one of these above steps, right, you can only reach that above step when you are completely understanding of the below steps in a way that you don't see that as a problem. You understand the working of it, right? You understand the concept of it, right? For example, if I am at responsibility mindset, which means my thoughts, I need to own my thoughts. And then if I meet somebody who is at victim mindset, as I said, I can't tell that person, oh, you know what, you should not think about I lose all the time. You should take the ownership of your thoughts. It's not going to work.
Exactly.
You can never tell that. That person needs to understand first that he is at a victim mindset to start with, and only that person can. If you listen to the previous sessions of CBT, you can never tell a person. You can't guide or advise a person. The coaching or counseling style is you can ask nudging questions for a person to understand themselves, but beyond that, you really can't tell them. So it's. I don't think we can tell them that, oh, you are at victim, I'm at responsibility. Now let me help you come up. I don't think we can do that. I don't think even we can tell somebody that you are at this mindset.
Absolutely. And one other related question I had, Jemin, was, is it also a function of the current situation a person might be experiencing or going through?
Yeah.
I can give you an example, which might be more relevant to the current scenario. So there was a friend of mine who was retrenched, and he was finding it really difficult to find a job. And although I'm not saying he probably was someone who would be very conscious about any ladder or parts of ladder in a ladder of mindset.
Sure.
He quickly went into a victim mode in terms of, I've been trying to get a job, I've reached out to X and Y, and I've still not been able to land myself. I'm really concerned about my, how I'm going to run my home and all of that. So that became a little better once he got his job. So does the situation also contribute to a person's change in a level of mindset?
Absolutely. Situations do affect, but the other way around also is always true, right? So a situation leading to a mindset, and this is again a very CBT topic. I mean, if you listen to the first session of ABC, we say, oh, I got the job, so I'm happy, or I didn't got the job, so I'm sad. And we know from our previous discussion that it's never the event because of which the feeling comes, but the thoughts in between, the biases and distortion. Which means, yes, getting a job made him happy, which is fine. But not getting a job also could have kept him happy and peaceful if he understood the thought process, his distortions and things. Because then he's sitting on a time bomb today. There will be something else where his bias and distortion will come in, and he's again not going to be happy. So that ABC approach is something very important. Yes, Pila?
Okay, something that happened to me a few years ago. I was in a very difficult moment of my life. I was having trouble in my previous job, and I always try to leave the work in the work and the house in the house and all of that. So while I was teaching the kids, I was in raw passion, but when I was in the car, going home, I was the victim.
Yes.
Like, oh, I hate these people, not the children, but well, the kids, but my employers.
Yes.
They are very difficult people.
Yes.
They got me through hell.
Yes.
I was having a lot of problems,
Yes.
and it was just looking for moments, and I guess I touched all the steps of the ladder in a day.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
wonder I went crazy. But
Yeah.
but the thing is this, that it's since we live in a world that has so many things, it's very difficult to just stay in the victim or stay in the concern or the joy or the passion. It's like if you are in the moment, you have a moment for every step. The thing is to unify the steps,
Yes.
to make your heart and your mind agree on where the hell are you.
Yeah.
Hopefully above, not under. But it's an interesting thing that
Yeah.
that maybe I mean, if I hadn't had help and friends who helped me through my process, I would have stayed in the victim
Yeah.
and not being in the raw passion of playing with my boy or teaching my kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important to understand that life is complex, and we may be in a different step in every area.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I always come, whenever you share this example, I would always come up saying, oh, you are a advanced practitioner already, because you could keep the office at office. Even you carried the office in your ride back home, but once you entered home, you could keep it away, and that's a big achievement. Not many can do that, right? People carry it in their home, they can't sleep, they get into migraines, they get into anxiety episodes, etc. So already there, right? And then what's your average? And this ladder is not something that you climb on or you force yourself, let me switch on, let me be at inner peace. No, this is more of awareness of where you are, right? Where your natural state is. And then you do a lot of things to try and be on one state, or even if you fall, you realize that you fell and then try to come up faster and things like that. But it's just your natural state, right? It's not a forced thing. I can't switch on saying, from today I'm at raw passion. I can't do that, right? So, and yes, we are humans. All of us would go through all of these, and more often than not, right? I mean, and that's the part of oneness. This is how we are. This is how humans are. But where can we stabilize faster in this entire chain, which is our natural state? That's the most important. Cool. Any further comments before we move on to the next point? Cool. Okay. So unlike the first two sessions where we did a CBT approach of finding the distortion, today we are going to approach it from the other stream, right? So we are going to talk about existential well-being therapy practice approach. So let's get started. I mean, if we have any volunteers I'll try to play the part of the coach. If somebody is open to start playing the part of the friend, or a person who wants to really decide how to live their best life, please come on board. Otherwise, it will be me and Alessandra again.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jemin, just one other question. Does this also have a lot of bearing in terms of the individual not being, dependent in terms of the external circumstances or the external ecosystem, in terms of what we talked about, either being in a state of happiness or being the go-to person?
Yes.
Is that also pretty much important to be able to define or help in achievement of that objective?
Yeah. See, it is your personal definition of existential well-being. If you think you want to be the go-to person, but you are not yet there and you're not happy with that, you want to increase yourself to be a go-to person, that is what you start looking at, right? It is your personal definition. It's not anybody else's definition.
Okay.
Okay. So I think quickly, maybe anybody else? Andreas, sorry, Pilar, yes, please.
Okay, I think that something, even though I try to be as happy as I can, and I'm very grateful to be blessed with all my things, something that gets in the way of my plenitude, because existential well-being is not just being happy and being useful, but your inner. I don't know if you use also the word plenitude,
Sure.
that you are
Sure.
full.
Yes.
And something that happens to me, I was telling you a few weeks ago that I have a narcissistic mother. She passed away 10 years ago,
Sure.
but she was so intense, I ended up developing imposter syndrome.
Yes.
So there were a lot of opportunities I could have taken, uh, to have a better income, to have a better job, to do other things, and I
Sure.
went through all kinds of unnecessary pain
Yes.
because there was this wired chip inside me that I could dream, but just look at it as a dream, not as a path or a possibility
Yes.
or a plan to go to.
Yes.
And this thing of keeping me locked. I mean, I'm good at what I do.
Sure.
I'm a good person. I'm a happy person. I do what I can, but still inside me there are so many things I want to do, and it's just the dream, because I was told I was not allowed to have it,
Yes.
or that I was not intelligent enough or whatever enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be the thing, that the
So
chain that holds me.
let's start on that, right? But just connecting to the previous ladder thing, I think there is still a lot of heavy victim mindset, right? I lose.
Totally the victim
Yeah.
there.
But let's approach the same thing. So we could have approached with this with CBT, and I would have told you, oh, the things that happened with you is not the problem. There are some distortion biases. That was one approach. Now let's target Pilar, your mindset with a complete opposite traction. So now tell me, what is your one definition, one thing that you would want to do for telling, oh, my existential well-being is plentiful, right? For example, what is that one thing that you can think of where you think you are not there?
I want to be a motivational speaker, but I think that since I am fat, and I am not an elegant person, but I am a very down-to-earth person, people are not going to believe me, even
Yeah, yeah.
though I have practice,
Yes.
I have experience, I have a lot of
Yes.
things, but I don't think they're going to believe me
Yes.
because of the way I look.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I understand. And for people on the call, right, what is happening is I'm trying to come from the existential well-being, positive angle, but you see Pilar has such hardwired victim states and not enough, as you Pilar said even in the first video, there is so much of not enough in our heads that we always switch back to the negative, right? And maybe if that negative is too high, we go into CBT, but I want to stick to this. But I mean, you be your natural self. Don't change in this aspect. So the next
Jemin,
question I would have, yes, KL.
Jemin Pilar, if I can, sorry, if I can just interject with your permission.
Yes.
Now, Pilar, I'm sure I'm much bigger than you in terms of weight. I weigh almost about 125 kilos. Okay. But like I told you, I used to manage a team of 700 plus people in IBM. But even when I actually got onto a stage to address a crowd or clients or anything, like you said, as a motivational speaker, I would quickly get people eating out of my hand in terms of focusing on the topic that I'm discussing. For example, Jemin, I must congratulate you that you've been doing a wonderful session today. Okay. Now, what happens is maybe I started off observing Jemin. Okay, he's wearing a t-shirt, he's got spectacles, and all of that. But once you start diving deep into the topic, I think the external things start getting blurred. Maybe, I don't know, that's how I'm wired. So I really am conscious about the way I dress and all of that. But if I really wanted to do something about my being fat, yeah, maybe I could work out. But I have never looked at that as a very limiting kind of a thing in terms of my effectiveness as a speaker or as a participant. Sorry to interject, but I thought
No,
it was
no
very relevant.
problem. No problem. But there is a small learning over here, right? Pilar, do you feel good when somebody tells this to you? What's your feeling when you hear something like this? Because these are your biases and distortions. You feel limited by this, and somebody says, "No, this should not worry you. See, look at me. I have overcome it, and if I can, even you can." Is it a good feeling?
Yeah, it's a good feeling, and I listened to KL, and he's absolutely right. I mean, I'm a storyteller. I studied to become a professional storyteller.
Yeah.
And there was an event that they invited me some years ago. I don't know if Alessandra was there. That I told them a story that I made up, and the audience was crying. In the peak moment of the story, I just forgot myself. The
Wow.
problem is to forget myself.
Yes.
The story is a very good story. Some other day I tell it to you.
Yeah.
If you
We'll do
want to.
storytelling as a next session, maybe. So
Yeah, we
what I
can
was
make
coming
a
to,
story.
what I was
But the
coming
thing
to,
was that when I become invisible,
yes,
then I can be.
yes,
The problem is that that KL tells me, and I said, yes, of course, it is true. It is true. If the message is good, if the words get there, people stop seeing you, and in the end, we are all just thinking about ourselves and living in our heads.
yes,
And we have the speaker, and we're just thinking about us,
yes,
and
yes,
what the message comes to us. We don't think
Mhm.
about the speaker. But this self-consciousness, ay.
that last
It's
feeling is what I wanted to capture, right? Because most of us would know, yes, what KL is saying is right, but is it my fact today? No. And then I get more frustrated. Yes, I know that's how it is supposed to be, but I am not there. And that sometimes frustrates people even more. The contrasting feeling, right? So I am in victim mindset. I see somebody at responsibility, and I like it, but internally I'm like, I'm not able to do it, right? So, but we continue on this. So what I want to do as part of this quick practice now is, I heard that one of your strengths is you are a professional storyteller. What other strengths, Pilar, you think you personally have? Because you called out, I think I look bad, I don't look professional, people might not pay me attention, etc., which is, by the way, wrong, and I don't want to bring it as part of this, but I mean, I find you such a warm personality, and all the stories that you told about grandmother, etc., I was so engaged. I wouldn't think otherwise, Pilar, that you, I have no doubts in my head, but I wouldn't say it as part of the therapy session, because it's not that what I tell you, it needs to come out of you, right? So now let's start with the strengths. So I heard you are a professional storyteller. What other strengths do you have with which you think motivational speaker is something as a goal that you can achieve, right? Where you have a YouTube video, you have millions of views, you are getting invited around the world to give a motivational speech, right? To reach that level, what other strengths do you think you have?
Well, I have a friend who works in a company that makes events for big companies. He brings speakers and stuff. And I started talking to him and told him I have these ideas of the things I want to talk about. And he says, can you do this? Can you do that? And he started telling me things that his clients were needing.
Yeah.
And I could do basically everything he wanted. And he started saying, okay, so we will start with a conference, and then we go with a workshop, and in the workshop we sell the book, and in the book and suddenly I was under a mountain of possibility, and I got paralyzed. I got so scared of the possibility of making it right. Yeah. And my friend Jesus, the one who has a company and stuff, he said, no, don't worry. He's gayer than a day of spring, and he says, I am going to dress you. If you don't know how to dress, I am going to dress you. He's super elegant and all. He's a beautiful creature, and he says there's a lot of money that we can make, and there is no need for you to stop. But I'm like a deer in the middle of the highway when the deer hits the lights in the eyes, and I'm frozen there.
Yes.
The possibility freezes me, and I have a person who can help me. People believe in me, people like me, but getting stuck. And I've been writing and stuff, and when I write this stuff, everything looks fine, but just thinking about doing it, and it's stupid because I was in a radio show for many years. I told horror stories, and there are some recordings still there in the internet. And if my body is not there and it's just my voice, it's I'm struggling here, Jemin.
Yeah, I know. So very quickly, right? The goal is this big thing. Strengths are these. I'm a storyteller. I already have network. I can jump on the train. I have verified all the needs. I can meet all the needs. I've been part of the radio voice-based stuff. I rock it. But when it's about personality stepping up there, I have my challenges, which is fine. But we don't focus on challenge. We focus on the strength. Now, if I can ask, how long back was this discussion with your friend on, oh, you could do all of these things, and yeah, I verified I could do all of it, but I'm paralyzed? How long was it? How long ago was it?
It was in December, because we got together for the holidays.
Yeah.
And we were going to start working this year together, but they diagnosed his mother with cancer, so his brothers are too busy doing their lives, and since he's the one who's single, he went to live back with his mother to procure her and to take care of her. I mean, he's a very good man, and I mean, I did the same when my mother had cancer, but still, it's there. Today's his birthday. I spoke with him a while ago. Like, happy birthday. Yeah, let's see what happens with the projects. Nothing is moving. Everybody's very scared. You keep writing, you keep doing, and let's see in a couple of weeks. So I'm in the middle of the process.
Sure. What's your rating of achieving this goal from 1 to 10? 10 being, yes, I'm there. I'm the well-known motivational speaker globally. What do you think your rating is today?
Talking about the capacities, capacities.
No, where you are already living the life, not the capacity.
But my emotions are in a 5. Because I want to...
Are you living it? How much are you living this thing already today?
Does preparing for it, reading, writing, and...
No, doesn't count.
Then I'm just writing for it, but I'm not doing it. So at 2, at 3, I don't know.
Okay, 3. Let's start with that. That's fine. Doesn't matter. It's not maths. Okay. So now, if you are at 3 today with this strengths, right? If I want you to go to 4 with even this coronavirus thing, lockdown thing, I want you to reach at 4. Emotionally, not preparing for it, but living it. So I want you to go from 3 to 4 in next 2 weeks. What is the next step that you can take? In 2 weeks' time, a short burst of time, 2 weeks, I want you to feel that you are living this dream from 3 to 4. 4 is still bad. You are not there yet, for sure. But you want to feel that you are one step ahead. What's the immediate next step that you can do in next 2 weeks?
Besides continue writing, maybe start a YouTube channel with little 5-minute talk about one of the topics, just general ideas. I mean, I guess my setting is decent.
Yes.
But maybe a 5-minute video, 1 or 2 videos, maybe 1 video a week, saying something, just I mean, since they're only going to see this part, then the fatness is not in in focus.
Yes, I understand. And
the face works. The face works.
Yes. So voice works. The second step is face works. Good. We go beyond that later. But this is your reality today, and I would like to stop here, and we connect back in 2 weeks' time. You have the skills, you know the topic, you know the content. The next step that you want to do from going from 3 to 4 is use all of the strengths. And as you said, with voice space works, you are going to start a YouTube channel with 5 minutes talk, 1 video a week planning. And this, so by 2 weeks, we are going to see your 2 videos in YouTube, and we are going to be the first audience for it. Deal?
Absolutely. I'll be.
Deal. Now we are done.
I'll,
Right?
I'll
This is your plan.
definitely subscribe to your channel, Pij.
Yes. And this is your plan, right? These are your strengths. Your strengths you have called out. You have called out the next step. And we don't want to reach the motivational speaker right now. We just want to go from 3 to 4, one small step at a time. Yes? And we connect back in 2 weeks, and all of us get to see your video. We share your feedback, all of it. We are done. Perfect. The session closes. Mindfulness impulse. So last time we started with being non-judgmental. We went into last time saying, oh, see the seer kind of concept, go behind the waterfall. And that's maybe the approach in which we can get non-judgmental. With today's mindfulness impulse, I wanted to leave you with a story. And maybe I'm not as good as a storyteller as you, Pilar, but I'll leave you. That story, it's a Zen story, has a good impact on me, keeps me thinking. So I'll tell you that. So there was the Zen master, and there was a student who joined the Zen master, and he wanted to enter Zen. When they say they wanted to enter Zen, so he wanted to enter a peaceful mindset, a steady peaceful mindset, non-altering from anybody, right? From any event. So they roamed around in mountains around Tibet. They used to sit for meditation. For 5 or 6 years, student followed the master. The master used to sit peacefully. Student found certain amount of peace, but he still thought, oh, I'm not entering Zen yet. And it's been 6 years. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So one day on one of the mountain peaks, they were sitting, and the student asked the master, hey, master, I have been with you for 6 years. I have sat beside you, meditated as long as you meditate, but I have not found peace. I have not entered Zen. What do I do? So with that, the master told him, can you listen to the waterfall? There is a waterfall 2 peaks away. We know it. Can you focus and listen to that? So the student sat very quietly, tried to listen. He could listen first. There are birds around, rustling of winds. Eventually, after 5-10 minutes of trying to hear very carefully, he could hear the waterfall, and he's saying, yes, master, I could hear it. The master said, enter Zen through that, which means with that listening of the waterfall, keep your attention on that waterfall, meditate, and you will enter the Zenhood from there. So student said, yes, I learned something today. He started meditating. He went ahead. But once they came down to their hut, while they were cooking the dinner, this was a very curious fellow, right? So he asked his master, what if I couldn't hear the waterfall after that 15-20 minutes of intense focus? Maybe my hearing capacity wasn't there. It's not same for everybody. What would you have said then? And he tried to challenge master there, very smart person. And master said, I would have said, then enter Zen through that. And what he meant by that is, it was not about whether he could listen to the waterfall or not. It was the amount of attention that he paid trying to listen to that. And with that, the mind calms down, thoughts gone, etc., etc. We don't go into that philosophical aspect. But what I want to leave you with this impulse of mindfulness is there are different practices, there are different approaches. The approach doesn't matter. What happens in your mind while doing that is most important thing, right? So with that last mindfulness impulse, I would like to wind up today's call. Any feedback from anybody? Last words, 1 minute, if anybody wants to quickly sound out any feedback from this session, from previous session. In the chat, there is a feedback link for today's session as well. Please feel free to give your views on that. But other than that, if anybody has any other thing that they would want to tell.
So Jemin, I'd like to, offer some sort of a feedback in terms of this whole session.
Yes.
I know that many sessions could be actually locked up in a time frame, and I'm sure there is opportunity to do better on the time. But the topic is such that, it has got all of us engaged, and we clearly overshot the time. So I'm really not bothered about that.
Yes.
I think also the topics selected and our ability to be able to quickly dive into an exercise mode, I think that is fantastic, and this being one of my first sessions has really got me interested. I came with a lot of expectation in terms of, let's say, if I could put it as maybe an 8 out of 10, but I'm going out or going back with a 9 out of 10. If I were to tell you it's a 10 on 10, it would be unfair to. So maybe I came with a 6 or 7 or maximum 8, but I'm leaving back as a 9 or even higher. So I think it is well organized. And what was also very important is a lot of learnings in terms of your own, your own voice in terms of some of the topics, plus some of Pilar's real life experiences. I think those interactions is what keeps a discussion alive. So thanks to Pilar, Alessandra, and I know Chaitra had to leave, but it's a fantastic session. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, KL. Alessandra, your viewpoint. One of our coaches was silent today, Alessandra. Next session, you are going to speak more.
Okay. No, actually, this tends to happen to me when I find something very interesting, I just like try to shut up and just absorb the information. It was wonderful. All this, the ladder, and also the work you just did with Kale and Pilar. It was so interesting to me. I had never seen this approach, and I found it extremely interesting. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alessandra. Anything else? Any last words from Pilar?
Thank you.
Not yet. The way you thank us is with a YouTube video.
Thank you for your patience.
You have homework, Pilar.
You have homework, Pilar.
And Pilar, with the permission of Jemin, I'd like to, if you've not already seen this, I encourage you to watch this movie Kung Fu Panda if you've not seen it already. Okay?
Oh, yeah. My boy liked it.
As a dragon warrior. So imagine you and I are dragon warriors, right? We might not be like a Jemin or an Alessandra. They might be the tigers or the monkey,
Yeah, I can identify with the Kung Fu Panda indeed.
I can do that too. I'm a stress eater. I'm stressed. I would finish off my kitchen.
Fantastic. Okay.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone. Then. Thank you. And Pilar, you owe us YouTube videos.
Thank you, Jemin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jemin.
Bye, Alessandra.
Bye.
Bye, KL.